Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, welcome and good luck to you.
Thank you. Good morning, Tesla Board of Directors. My name is Maddie Rothfuss, and this is my partner, Alex Austin. We are members of ETHTech, an ethical technologies consulting agency, today looking at the controversial ethical aspects surrounding autonomous vehicles. And today we will be addressing further our discussion of the ethicality of integrating autonomous vehicles into our current systems of traffic. Thank you for bringing us back. We are glad to see Tesla's continued commitment to an ethical business practice. So first we will begin by addressing the ethicality of first introducing this technology into our current systems, and then looking at how Tesla can ethically implement and integrate this technology. My partner Alex will begin by addressing the first issue of the ethical introduction surrounding autonomous vehicles.
So to decide whether it is even ethical to start introducing these vehicles into the modern traffic system, we must first introduce the ethical principle known as the precautionary principle. This is an ethical idea that states that we should not begin integrating a new technology into society until we have scientific certainty that it is beneficial and not harmful. Now, to see whether these vehicles are actually safe and beneficial, we must first look at the current US statistics and what is going on our roads today. Now, in 2014, according to the National Traffic Highway and Safety Association, there were over 6 million traffic accidents, and that is only an estimation. Of those accidents, there were over 31,000 fatalities with over 2 million serious injuries. Now, we at ETHTech believe that autonomous vehicles can greatly reduce those numbers. For one, 31% of those fatalities were caused by an alcohol-impaired driver. Now, an AI in control of the wheel does not get impacted by alcohol or those human driver errors, so they will get rid of that 31%. On top of that, another 21% of fatalities are also caused by a distracted driver. Now, once again, an AI will get rid of those human error accidents. Now, on top of that, studies conducted by Google on their autonomous vehicles have already shown that level 4 autonomous vehicles are more efficient at braking, accelerating, and keeping a safe distance than a professional human driver. Now, will all these statistics that have already been shown actually lead to a safer and more productive and efficient traffic and driving environment? Well, a study conducted by the Eno Center for Transportation, a very respected think tank when it comes to integrating new technology into our road systems, has already released a study showing what they believe that the true integration results of autonomous vehicles will be. At 10%, they predict that there will be over 200,000 fewer crashes with over 1,100 lives saved. Now, when that number gets boosted up to 50% of integration, where 50% of the vehicles on the road are autonomous vehicles, that number gets boosted up to almost 2 million fewer accidents per year. Now, and that would also lead to over 8,000 lives being saved. Now, once there are over 90% of autonomous vehicles on the road, meaning that 90% of our vehicles are fully autonomous, they predict that there will be over 4 million fewer accidents, leading to over 21,000 lives being saved. Now, with all these statistics, we believe that the precautionary principle is fulfilled, as there is already a ton of evidence to suggest that these vehicles are safer, so we believe it is ethical to begin the introduction of autonomous vehicles. Now, as a company that is focused on being ethical, it is not just enough to think that their product is ethical, but how can they go about integrating and bringing in their autonomous vehicles and implementing this in an ethical manner? And the first question that we would like to address is the issue of privacy. Now, we believe that privacy must be respected, especially for their consumers. So when Tesla is trying to manage this, they have to notice that their vehicles are connected by nature. This already poses a huge problem for privacy. For one, these vehicles are connected to the web and through Wi-Fi, meaning that businesses around them will already be able to advertise in their vehicles at an increased manner than what is currently available. On top of that, the fact that these vehicles use GPS as their primary mode of transportation means that that data and that location will be sent and stored somewhere, whether it be a Tesla or an insurance company. One good example that we like to bring up is, will your late night trip to the liquor store be sent to your insurance company? Or will where you were last Saturday night come up in court during your divorce proceedings? Now, on top of that, we also see that hacking is also a giant threat to autonomous vehicles. For one, as these vehicles are technology, they do have that access to be hacked by either government or criminal forces. Now, at ETHTech, we think that for the most part, many of these concerns are either overstated, and there are steps Tesla can personally take that will help minimize this problem. For one, we advise Tesla that they should follow in the footsteps of 12 other automakers that have already signed a petition to the Federal Trade Commission stating that they will be more transparent with their customers and provide them with more information about what data is being stored and for how long. On top of that, Tesla should also try to minimize the scope and time that they are storing this information, as well as making sure they don't hand out this information freely without to law enforcement or other companies wishing to have that information without a legal court order. Now, we believe that will greatly minimize the issue of privacy, but hacking is still a threat. But one thing that we like to point out is that if you own a computer, you're already susceptible to hacking and your information being stolen. On top of that, if you've ever flown on a plane, many planes already have some level of autonomous vehicle. At the same time, are also suspect to being hacked. And as well, many of our trains are already using autonomous technology as well, so they can also be hacked. Now, in this regard, autonomous vehicles are not unique. But just as there are different levels of hacking, there are also different levels of security, and Tesla should do its best to make sure that their security is one of the toughest on the market to ensure that their customers can feel safe when driving their vehicles. Now, talk about the next big question about ethically implementing these vehicles. I'm going to hand it off to my colleague, Maddie.
So now, as we've shown that it is ethical for Tesla to begin introducing autonomous technology, we now need to address how we can ethically implement and integrate this technology into our current levels, into our current traffic system. So first, the question will shift now to how can autonomous vehicles act ethically in accident scenarios where harm is an unavoidable outcome? And this requires that we address this idea of the trolley problem, which is an ethical thought experiment in which causing harm is an unavoidable outcome, and we do need to ask how autonomous vehicles will respond when death is an inevitable scenario. So looking at this first, we present an example where the car must choose between potentially killing a group of 10 people in the road or swerving into a barrier, potentially killing the occupant of the car. These are situations that are currently a big problem surrounding autonomous vehicles because people have distrust in the technology. You know, how can the power shift from the human to an operated car? How can we program these vehicles to predetermine the outcome and weigh the results of one individual's life over another? So also we need to bring in this idea of the infinite trolley problem, which looks at traffic as a system in which accidents are always possible. It's just a subdivision from the original trolley problem. And while autonomous vehicles cannot be guaranteed to 100% eliminate accidents altogether, they will greatly reduce the likelihood of these problems from occurring because they have better detection and better braking capabilities, just as some things to start off with. Now, we do also need to recognize that these current trolley problems happening in today's society are due to human error. And technologies will be designed to reduce human error. And Tesla already has a semi-autonomous technology that's designed to reduce this as much as possible. However, autonomous vehicles are going to be designed to eliminate that to the best extent. So in continuing their progress with autonomous vehicles, we need to make sure that Tesla is still creating a product that is as ethical and morally responsible as possible. As EthTech, we propose a new solution. We propose that Tesla advocate for a moral framework of programming based in virtue and utility. And under these two mandates, the car will act in the most responsible way possible. Under the virtuous mandate, the car will have loyalty to the passenger based in ownership and the fact that the occupant of the car has bought and owned the vehicle. Secondly, under a utilitarian framework, the car will do whatever it can to not cause harm. However, in situations where that harm may be unavoidable, the car will act in such a way that harm can be minimized.
So, how are we going to integrate both of these moral mandates into our Tesla's vehicles? Well, first, we believe that the vehicle should be predominantly and primarily virtuous in the sense that, as my partner said, that it is loyal to its occupants due to the fact that they do own and possess this vehicle. At the same time, this should not be blind loyalty. For blind loyalty would be an extreme and no longer virtuous. Now, when moving on and faced with a trolley problem-like situation, the car should act utilitarian. This is where it moves from the virtuous and loyalty to its occupants to utilitarian framework. Now, we believe this is necessary as the car should not, as I said previously, not be blindly loyal and be willing to sacrifice countless numbers of lives just to save its occupant. So, when faced with these extreme, and I would like to point out, extreme would be very rare situations, the vehicle would act utilitarian in the sense that it would act in the way that caused the least amount of harm. Now, this could mean potentially killing its occupants. or occupants. But we still believe that this is the best process or the best approach that we can take, as the trolley problem is a deep problem. Now, just to conclude with this, I would like to bring up that Tesla should do more than just make their cars virtuous and utilitarian. They should push for universal standards to make this system mandatory in all autonomous vehicles. This will eliminate a competing narrative where Tesla might have to choose between making a profit and being ethical, as another company might make a car that would protect its occupants at all costs just to make profit. Thank you for your time.
I'm going to give you all a little feedback if you'd like to return to your audience.